stay like this. Hello, everyone. We're live. We have been meeting for over a 1 month now. This is day 32 of our amazing series, 75 Days of Partition. We are commemorating 75 years of partition through bringing excellent speakers, academicians, writers, and various experts to start a dialogue around partition. Those who are watching, I'm Aprajita, a story scholar with the 1947 Partition Archive. I have been co hosting this series with Gunita. Sonam Kalra and Noor Adan Chawla will be joining us soon. Today we have with us Eshan Sharma. He has graduated in history from Dayal Singh College, Delhi University. He is a history buff, an international writer, an activist based in New Delhi. But this is not all. To tell you more about him, he is the founder of an independent student led heritage exploration initiative, Karwaan. He is truly inspirational. He was recently listed in the Delhi University 21 under 21 list of young achievers, published by India's largest independent student newspaper, DU Beat. And he was featured by the Achievement Cell, Delhi University. He has been a speaker at various platforms, literature festivals, and he's also known for writing a motivational book based on Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's life titled The Teacher I Never Met at the Age of 16. An active contributor on online platforms including Youth Ki Awaaz, Ishan has spent last 4 years reading and writing articles on Indian youth. And he has been a writer since the age of 11. Welcome, Ishan. It's an honor to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I don't know that much about myself, but thank you so much.
So I'm quite fascinated by your initiative, Karwa. Tell me the story of Karwa. How did Karwa came into existence?
Yeah, for sure. But thank you so much to 1947 Partition Archives for doing these series of conversations because I think uh, conversations are part of the civilization that we inherited, and this tradition must go on of hosting conversations, of bridging gaps, and I think 47 Archives is doing that fantastically well. About Karwan, so I wanted to get into political science when I was planning to get into DU, but my class 12th results wanted something else. I did not score as much as I wanted to, but I kind of landed on history honors. And when once I got into a college called Dalsin College, I witnessed, I saw around me people who were, on record they were history students, but many of them wanted to get into IAS and other services, and they kind of lacked that passion for history. But we thought we can develop that. But the education system of India is kind of very limited in some senses. So that is how I decided that let us do something to make history interesting for ourselves, because we thought history kind of got boring in the first few months of our BA. So we thought we all are ghumakkads. We are, we don't like classrooms, and we don't like lectures by our teachers. So we thought let's bunk classes and go to Humayun's tomb. It's just nearby our college, and that was the first day of my college. We bunked class and we went to the Humayun's tomb, and we kind of collected our friends, and we thought, all of you contribute 50 rupees each, 60 rupees each, and we'll arrange a walk. That's how when we met Sohail Hashmi, who is a leading heritage walk leader. He led our first walk in 2019 September to Tughlaqabad Fort. So that is how roughly that's what happened and I was then in, I think, the second semester, final of my second semester of my BA first year. So that was the starting of Karwan, and then we kind of grew from there.
So you have been your friends helping you with this whole initiative, or you have been the the sole mind working behind it?
No, I think any initiative would need like-minded people to help you create and build a robust structure. So I have a lot of friends who kind of came together in the beginning. So we had five founding members when we started. Now one of them remains still in the team. Others got into MA and got busy with their life, but they still kind of uh, attend some of our sessions sometimes. So yeah, I have a team. I'm not the only one, but I'm kind of the face. They made me the face of Karwaan, unfortunately.
So, how did you visualize, how you are going to deal or preserve the history, or how are you trying to explore partition in particular?
So in India today, we see a kind of shift in the in if you see the kind of history that is being promoted or shared on WhatsApp. So the paradigm is shifting to the other side, which I think uh, promotes mythological history or myth-based history away from academic narratives. So we kind of thought, we must do something to bring back academic history into the conversation. We must promote academic history in India, especially in India, about South Asia. So, uh, so that's how we thought we'll cover critical issues like caste system, like feminism, like partition, because partition I think is one of the most if we can say bloodiest event of our history, of our modern history. And partition plays a big role in all of our lives, even if we are not somebody from a migrant family or somebody who witnessed partition. But still, when you read about partition, it changes you tremendously. And that's when we thought we must also include partition in our conversations. And we had scholars like Ishtiaq Ahmed and Sugoto Bose and Priya Satya to talk about partition. They delivered lectures on Karwaan. And then last month we started a conversation series called Karwaan Baithak, Sarhad ke is par us par. So the goal is not to focus only on the political aspect of partition, but also to talk about culture, how food got affected during partition. In India you have the dal makhani and butter chicken, who which was invented by a Pakistani migrant who came to Daryaganj. Then in Pakistan you have murch chole, mutton peshawari, chicken peshawari, that you won't find in India. So how food got affected, how textiles got affected, Indian designs were migrated to Pakistan. Pakistani designs, these printed designs came to India. Uh, how literature got affected. You have Manto, you have Chupta, you have Mulk Raj Anand, you have so many authors. Bhisham Sahani's Tamas is a good example. So how partition, Amrita Preetham is a beautiful example. If you see, Akhawani Shanu, her poetry on partition. Then to also see how music got affected, folk music got affected due to partition, and how initiatives like Coke Studios trying to bridge the gap between the two nations. And in that we also kind of should include Bangladesh. And now that they have Coke Studio Bangladesh, they started this year. So these are the things that we think are important to talk about, and that's why we kind of talk about partition and other important issues that I think are essential for young minds to know. Sorry for that long
Yeah, it
answer.
is amazing. Yeah, no, it's great. So it's amazing how you mention about food, because everybody likes to talk about food, and it brings back a lot of memories. Because in interviews also we ask the partition survivors, like, what are the memories of food they have, and they very fondly remember this maa ki dal that used to be, very favorite with almost all of them. So, but my next question is that, some of the events that have happened after partition, and we can find it's somewhere root cause in the partition, like the 84 riots, like the 1971 liberation war. So do you try to link all these events with the partition as well, while you're trying to explore?
Uh, I think it was. I don't remember the name of that author. He's a wonderful philosopher. He's written the book called R.G. Collingwood. He has written a book called the Idea of History. So R.G. Collingwood mentioned in his book that, the history that a historian studies is not a dead past. History is around us. We are surrounded by history. It is everywhere. What we are today is because what happened yesterday. You know, and I was in a class. A teacher said in Hindi कि भाई आपका आज पेट खराब है, इसका मतलब आपने कल कुछ बुरा खाया था. So that is also history of sorts. So, that's how you see history. We are living in the past. Politicians kind of remind you of the past, the golden age, the Ashok, we were the Sonic Chidiya or sorts. So if you are surrounded by history, how can you miss this link from past events to the present situations? Be it the fight for Hindi, as the national language of India, because Mahatma Gandhi said Hindustani should be the language of the people. It should be a combination of Urdu and Hindustani. So Hindustani should be the language, but then Urdu was made the national language of Pakistan, and it kind of symbolized that Urdu is the language of the Muslims. So all this leads to the partition, the gap that became evident after partition between communities, between people of same descents, of same origins. So I think yes, we kind of should make parallels, comparisons with partition in every aspect of our life. If we see, say, something as you mentioned about the 71 liberation war or 84, Punjab riots. Yes, all of them could be linked to partition, but I'm not very sure. I'm not a scholar, but as a student, I kind of think that it is an interesting take to draw parallels. It makes history more
I
interesting.
Yes, you are quite right in saying that partition has resonance in our everyday life, and that's quite a thing you said there. Um, Ishan, what do you think is the long term goal of your initiative, Karwaan? Like you said, like many of your peers, they left midway, they joined some other things, but you are still there. So you must be having a long term goal for your initiative. What is it?
It is the commitment to the discipline of history, of making academic history available, accessible, for free to all, in every geographical location all over the world, and to make an archives of sorts for academic lectures, because I think we are in dire need of academic history, as I mentioned earlier. Because I keep getting WhatsApp forwards of how the Mughals were so, ruthless, or how they kind of destroyed the Hindu civilization of sorts. So these kind of narratives should be, sh- we must fight these narratives academically, by replacing them with academic narratives. People can disagree, agree with those academic narratives, but we must present the facts and the figures and the evidences. I think that is the main part of history, that you must have this courage to critically analyze your past. Your past could be very saddening. It might irritate you, it might make you very sad, but you can't change your past. It was at his it is as it is, so you can't change it, but you must kind of have this courage to face it and make changes in the future, that you won't repeat those errors or those wrongdoings. So I think the end goal is to make people aware of this discipline called history, because in schools also, of Rajita, you must be knowing, you are doing your PhD in partition literature, and you are a scholar yourself, that in school textbooks you do not see history as imaginative or as interesting. History is only, they present the fact, and they think that a student would mug up those facts and would vomit it on the paper on the examination day. That is not how you'll teach history. History, I think, should be more personal. History should be more interactive. It should appeal to the young minds. And initiative like ours, initiative like Partition Archives, initiative like other young initiatives that are going on these days in the digital world would help. in making history interesting, personal, and it would kind of make, as I said, it would open doors for more conversations. Because I'll repeat myself that conversations are very important. We are living in so uh, we are living in such tremendous pressure. We always fight over small things. We kind of have forgotten the tradition of conversations, of having one to one chat about something, about anything. So I think these initiatives would further promote conversations. So that should be the end goal, I believe.
I'm very sure, with the interest that you exude, that you will be attracting a lot of young people into your initiative. But the initiative like yours are based on a lot of crowdsourcing of information and work, right? So, how do you visualize that? What are the kind of benefits of archiving heritage through these history enthusiasts, history buffs? What are the benefits of it?
uh, Archiving history and heritage is important because need those in future to build our present, because our present will become past in some time. And about heritage, because heritage monuments are always at this point of being of getting destroyed by rains or any other reasons of lack of care or whatever. So, if we archive those, document those heritage monuments through visual medium and other things, we can make those available for our future generations. And I think these transference of memory is what we owe to the future generations. Transference of this knowledge of other things, and history, because academic history especially, because uh, the scholars who are today with us, enlightening us with their lectures and all, might not be there 20 years from now. So what is the best way to kind of go back to their work, listen to them, listen to their philosophies of history, because every historian has its own view of the past. How do you construct your own vision? By listening to these people, by kind of critically analyzing them. And how could you analyze them 20 years later if you won't have any record of them speaking about their theme, about their researches? So I think that is when archiving these lectures would help. And if somebody would be doing a PhD on a theme, of relating to these speakers, speakers like Romila Thapar and Ashok, uh, Emperor Ashok, because Romila's work is kind of the most legendary work on Ashok. So anybody could go on a YouTube 20 years later, watch that conversation with Professor Romila Thapar and kind of make notes of from those lectures. I think that is how, when we'll come to work.
It has been very delightful to talk to you. Your journey is truly inspirational, and I hope you can achieve greater heights in your efforts to preserve and create interest in history. Thank you so much for coming here today, Ishan.
Thank you so much, Aprajita. Thank you so much, everybody.
Those who are watching, don't forget